Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for joining our Reformed Niger television channel here on YouTube, Facebook, whatever you may be watching this from. My name is Deji Yesufu, and I'm joined live in this discussion by Dr. Motunrayo Adetola. He's a very good friend of mine, a Christian brother. Um, he lives in Canada, and he's joining us to discuss today Donald Trump, the invasion of the Capitol Hill by some Trump enthusiasts, and the future of the gospel in America. So, our brother, you're welcome to our discussion today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Just in case there are people who are joining this discussion who may not know you, sir, would you like to just give us a brief background of who Dr. Motunrayo Adetola is, and maybe a few other things that you may want us to know about yourself?
Okay, I'm a physician. I practice in Canada, and I like to say I'm a Christian, and I have conservative leanings. So I'm on Facebook. I'm interested in current affairs a lot, and so I think that's all I like to throw out there right now.
All right, excellent, excellent. Well, our brother there are about three of us who are involved in this work with the Reformed Niger. So our brother and my other colleague, that's other friend, Peter Uka, would probably be appearing often on this program. I actually had somebody scheduled for today, but I couldn't get him on. So on very short notice, I asked for our brother if he will be available, and I want to thank God that he is. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. The program won't be more than 1 hour. This is 9:36, so in another about 10:30, we'll be done. My watch is speeding up a little bit, so just bear with me. Sir, about 2-3 days ago, the world witnessed something in the United States of America, in which we saw, first of all, what was supposed to have happened was that the senators were supposed to sit over the counting of the Electoral College, and the ratification of Joe Biden as the president or president-elect of the United States, and at the same time, Kamala Harris. Okay, so while they were working on that, and Mike Pence, the vice president to Donald Trump, was actually chairman of that meeting. Next thing we saw, quite a number of people invade the Capitol Hill, which is the seat of the Senate city of the United States, the seat of law of the lawmakers, and they practically took over the whole place. And well, for about some 4 hours, they couldn't do anything. Eventually, they reconvened, and it went on. But Donald Trump had ever since then had actually come under a lot of fire. We still consider some of the things that have been happening to him on social media. But sir, can you give us an overview of what is happening? What's happening in America? In fact, even China is saying that America is becoming an embarrassment to the world. China that has a horrible track record as far as human rights abuse is concerned. So I would just like to put that before you. If you have anything to share, tell us about that thing, about this discussion. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll remember very well that about 2 months ago, 8 weeks to be precise, in November, yes, the elections held, and Donald Trump lost. Now, we will expect, of course, that America, as a bastion of democracy, they've done this for well over 200 years, will have very clear very clear elections. But unlike back at home in Nigeria, where we have a central electoral body, America doesn't do that. Each state conducts its own election. They do it on the same day, but and each state have varying election laws. And they tend to be very similar on many occasions, but the states are responsible for their own elections. And there were clear-cut victories in certain states, and Trump essentially was disputing in certain states that there were certain irregularities. But The Attorney General, for instance, Barr, who was a Donald Trump appointee, said there were irregularities in some electoral irregularities in some states. But as far as the C was concerned, they did not rise to the level where they needed to be probed and that it should go forward. So he refused to probe it. But Trump, knowing the kind of person he was, he decided he needed to probe it, and he essentially urged on his supporters. And he was, now, it's true he filed, I think, about 64 court applications, which is his right. You know, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be true. He filed applications in many courts, but the courts didn't really look at them. On technicalities, they threw out all of these court applications. So people go around and say, oh, the court threw them out. Yes, but the courts never looked at them. They threw all of those things out on technicalities and basically told them to go back to the states and sort them out there. But bottom line was, he was now hoping that Vice President Biden, being his assistant and the one who presides at the Senate, will be able to help him. But the job of Vice President Biden is not to alter the course of the election. On that day when certification was supposed to take place on the 6th of January, his job was mainly essentially ceremonial. And Pence told him, look, I'm not going to do that. And so, unfortunately, some of those people, in all fairness, to me, I think they were just crazed, because Trump had given them the idea that there was still some hope. On that day, Pence could change things around, and those things were not happening, and things got overboard. The Capitol Police and the Washington Police couldn't do anything, and some of them broke through. And unfortunately, we saw the police had to shoot some people, and eventually, I think 5 or 6 people died. That was unnecessary. It was their right to march, but it wasn't their right to go around disrupting things and breaking things and destroying both life and property. That was regrettable. A president should not be encouraging that kind of behavior. Violence is never something that should be encouraged. That was a very sad way to end these 4 years of being in saddle of a great country like America. A lot of nations around the world look up to the US. And to me, that was a very sad day. It's a dark stain on that great nation.
Okay, before we even get to Mike Pence, because I have some questions on him, do you personally, from some of the things you saw, the records you saw about the results coming out, do you think that Donald Trump actually had the case? If, for example, let's say maybe Georgia was contested and he won Georgia, do you think he could have gotten enough electoral votes to overturn this election? Or maybe he was just being overly optimistic?
Look at it this way. There were, looking at the case of Georgia, for instance, as an example, there were 25,000 conservatives who voted for Trump in the primaries, who did not show up to vote in the actual election.
Wow.
Meanwhile, he lost Georgia by 12,000.
Wow.
So if those 25,000 Republicans who voted for him in the primaries had shown up in the real election to vote, he would have won, hands down. Now, why did they vote for him in the primaries but did not show up in the election? Was it that they were just complacent and thought, oh, it's not a big deal? Georgia is a Republican state? Because for a long time, Republicans always won in Georgia. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't have any direct answers. So I think there are many things at play here. Maybe, I believe in sovereignty. God just said it's time for him to go. Now, that said, there is a lot of hypocrisy to go around. Look, between 2016 and 2020, the Republicans, the Democrats shouted, oh, Russia altered elections in 2016. Yes. And all of a sudden, they're no longer crying Russia because they've won the election. Even though all the intelligence agencies said all Russia did not alter a single vote in the 2016 election. What they did do was they manipulated information via social media platforms, about the election. But these people cried foul for 4 years. They never did allow this guy to enjoy his presidency. That's the truth. It doesn't matter what people are doing and all the spinning of information that's gone around. That's the reality. Now, what do I think? I think Trump lost the election. That's the reality. It doesn't matter what the gymnastics he's been trying to pull for the last 8 weeks. He wasn't going to win. That's the truth.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for that perspective. Donald Trump is seen as somebody who Christians support. On social media, we have not been spared of what happened at the Capitol Hill. Many of us have been seen as people supporting the violence at the Capitol Hill and all of that. Incidentally, I'm even just learning today that the pastor of James White, I can't remember his name, can't remember his name now, that the gentleman was actually at Washington, okay? Whether he went to Capitol Hill or not, I am not sure. Now, what is the place of the church in all of these things? Were Christians involved in that invasion? Did you hear of, because I did hear of banners of Jesus or something being raised up, but were Christians involved in that Capitol Hill show of shame, if I may call it that?
Well, the stories are still evolving. I haven't seen a lot of implication in the media or whether Christians played a role. But at the end of the day, I'm sure some obscure Christian group at the end of the day may be found, and CNN and MSNBC will run panels 24 hours. They will be filming. Look, at the end of the day, they want to implicate Christians. They want to give Christians a bad name. They want to give us a punch in the face and give us dark eyes. I'm not going to be surprised. On social media, there's this video that's been shared, a letter to Christian white evangelicals. They even want to segregate us according to color lines. The hypocrisy of Christians. Of standing by exactly what he promised. He's ruled in a way aligned with him. So on this matter, I would vote for somebody who is a Satanist, truly a Muslim, a Jew. It doesn't matter. It's not a matter of one's religious faith when it comes to these issues. I've seen people who claim to be Christians, calling other Christians names and calling them deplorable, despicable, and it's nauseating. And Christians allowing themselves to be pitted against other Christians, it's sad. We shouldn't ever get to this point. We have one Lord, one faith, one baptism. Apostle Paul says in the book of, I think Ephesians chapter 4, verses 5-6. It's sad. Now, Trump hopefully will be gone. And I'm hoping in the next cycle, we will have better candidates than Biden and Trump, or by Trump and Hillary Clinton. That's my hope.
Thank you very much, sir. Incidentally, for about 5 minutes or 3 minutes, I was off.
Oh, yes.
My network is very bad here. I don't know how much, but thank you for keeping up the discussion. I really appreciate it. For those of you who may be joining us on comments, the comment section on the Facebook, I'm going to take them subsequently and provide those questions to Dr. Adetola. start so on that day, I Pence might take a little thing to what Trump expected Pence to do. What was he expecting him to do? He just put the innocent man on the spot. What do you think he and his supporters were asking him to do exactly?
Well, Trump has been in the business of self-promotion for, I think he's about 74 years old. I think for 6 decades or more, the man has been in the business of self-promotion. So as a narcissist, I don't try and get into Trump's mind. So I honestly don't know what he wanted Trump to, what he wanted Pence. Pence is just the, look, Pence was in the House of Reps for many, many years. He knows the law. And Pence was also the governor of the state. He knows the law. Pence is not a stupid man. So Pence has a long pedigree as a public officer. And beyond that, the man don't think he was going to go along at any point in time. He said, no. In fact, I was reading somewhere that somebody who knew him said, this last 24 hours, that he had not seen Pence as angry. And he was the one who called out the National Guard when things got out of hand. So that's just the extent of to how Pence was. Okay, so Michael Pence thing. So I'm just hoping that the next time around, so that we don't continue to get all this bad name, that somebody who is better behaved and somebody with better morals will not defeat everybody in the entire Republican field like Trump did the last time, you know. But he obviously tapped into the anger of the citizens, and that was why he won. He won fair and square. That's the reality.
Yes.
So I think you're back now. I noticed you were off. That was why I continued.
Yes. I don't know. It's horrible. I don't know why Airtel is doing this to me this time.
No, that's okay.
And they've not disappointed me in the past. But I'm just trusting God that we'll somehow be able to do something. And maybe it's the time of the day. Usually in the night, it's better. Okay. All right, sir. Let's move over to this matter of the gospel. Okay, but before we do that, news emerged today that Donald Trump has been banned on every social media handle. What's the implication of this? Because some of us have been touting the narration that these people
Hello. Yeah, the state of Iran, who have been writing very horrible things on a consistent basis, you know, writing about how they are seeking the genocide of the Jewish people, writing horrible things about Israel, and they don't seem to get the can. Like I know, and they don't ban them, but when it comes to certain other people, Twitter and Facebook are willing to wield the cane. You know, so it seems to, and then now this is even a live ban. It's not a ban for a month. It's not a ban for 24 hours. So it would be nice if we knew what exactly their rules are. Now, the other thing was just before election in October, they allowed the sharing, for instance, of this same Donald Trump. You know, some people released some tax information. Oh, Donald Trump hasn't paid tax, or he paid some ridiculous amount of money for tax. Now, we know that only
Yes.
2 people can release your tax information. You can release your tax information yourself, or IRS can release your tax information. Now,
Okay.
Twitter and Facebook allow this information to be shared freely,
Wow.
because of course it was going to be against Trump. But a few weeks later, information about Joe Biden came, and New York Post decided to share it. And Twitter banned that information. Facebook did the same, even though it was, and they claimed that it was hacked information. They even banned New York Post for 3 weeks. They just blocked their account information. Well, that information, number one, was not hacked. Number two, Biden never said this information was hacked. What happened was Biden dropped his laptop, and that's the son, and he didn't go to collect it back. He left it there for months, and then the person who was repairing took this information, even handed it over to FBI. But the point I'm trying to make is this. They've allowed the information about Trump to be shared, even though Trump didn't give it to them, IRS didn't give it to them.
Yes.
But when it came to the other side,
Biden,
they refused to allow it to be shared. So it seems they have uneven standards. They apply it, whichever way. And this led to congressional hearing on this. Now, for me, I think this is where Trump is just unnecessarily boneheaded. When he lost that election, this was something he actually agreed with the Democrats, like I was sharing on your wall the other day. He and the Democrats, the Republicans and Democrats, they agreed that Section 230, which allows people or some groups do not feel that they are being profiled or unevenly targeted. But he didn't do that. He was seeking an election. He was trying to overturn an election he lost. He clearly lost. And now it's come back to haunt him. Now he's been banned. I'm sure he will find another way around it, or he will go to some other platforms like Parler or whatever. But, these people need to be transparent. They need to be held accountable. And besides, we are coming from Africa, a place where there are dictators and they can ban people, they can can you, they can put you in jail. Showore is still in jail for things that are still not clear. We shouldn't come here and be defending this kind of arbitrariness. That's what bothers me.
The issue that I have with this actually is that I am aware that a lot of Christian channels on YouTube are being banned. Even before Donald Trump, a lot of Christian channels are being banned. There's this gentleman that I follow a lot on YouTube, David Wood. David Wood already has other clone channels where he's using, because he's so sure very soon they're going to ban him. The only reason why they've not banned him is because he has over 500,000 followers and they are making money from his channel. But he knows at some point they are going to ban him.
Prager University has been suppressed.
Yeah. Dr. James Wise also says that he knows he's also going to be banned. Everybody, Christian voices are being shut down and all of that. So when I saw Trump being banned, that was when I knew that, look, these people are extending a hand. Anything that has some conservativeness in them, anything that has a voice for the gospel in them, anything that has anything Christian in it, it is clear that these people, these social media giants, are clamping down on them. My friend who was on this channel some time ago, my lawyer friend, Allison, posted on Facebook and said that, are we aware that when Donald Trump lost when Hillary Clinton lost the election in 2016, that many of these big tech companies, many of them were very unhappy. In fact, many of their CEOs were said to be crying. A lot of them broke down. They couldn't believe it. There is so they have, from day one, CNN and all of the rest, they have always been against Trump, and they've sought to see how to shut down anything that is not just even Trump, but anything that tends towards conservativeness, anything that tends towards Christianity, anything that tends, let me add this last thought. James White said that what is actually happening is not even Capitol Hill. It's not crisis on the Capitol Hill. Now, what is happening is a clash of worldview, okay?
Yeah.
That we have a Christian worldview that backs the civilization and the Western world that we have today versus a pagan.
Yeah, I do endorse certain of those. You know what? A Harvard study that was done early in 2017, surveying the mainstream media, found out that all the CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, the positive. This is just reporting on the Trump administration in that first year. I should have searched for this preparatory to this talk, but I'm very right on this. It's 95% negative reporting on not on Trump himself, on the Trump administration. And not only that, they did a study on the journalists in mainstream media. About 95% had donated money to the Democratic Party, not to the Conservative Party, to the Democratic Party. This is their campaign. In America, people freely donate to political parties of their liking. So when you donate money to fund election of a certain political party, how are you going to report nicely on what the opposition party does?
Oh, definitely.
By a ratio of 95-5. This is 19-1. Now, this was 3 days ago. Chris Cuomo, the guy who is CNN will say they're reporting, they're neutral. They report accurately. So yes. he had said something horrible about the senator from Florida, said Rubio. So he called him the Bible boy, because he says because he called him Bible boy because he says he's always citing the Bible, and he on his Twitter he cites the Bible a lot. That's he said people, and I'm quoting him now. I'm not paraphrasing, I'm quoting him. He said people who put Christian first in their bio tend to be the nastiest people I encounter here. I don't give a pass for being a member of my religion. No one gets a pass, but of course it's lying. Some people get a pass. There are certain religions he wouldn't dare criticize. He wouldn't dare.
Yes, definitely. I'm with you, sir.
So this is the latest thing, and go to the the Christians are the punchline of comedians at nights. This their nightly comedies that they do. Go to CNN, the way they mock the evangelicals, they call them deplorables. Even Obama got in on the act and says, they hang on to their Bibles and to their guns. I'm quoting Obama. Obama said that. They hang on to their Bibles and to their guns, and all these kind of things. These are the things that they say, and they mean it. You are the despicable ones, you are the deplorable ones, and the little nuns. It took those little nuns 10 years until August of this year, in the court cases that they were embroiled in since the Obama days, and. There's no way with this new administration that they are not going to go back to court just because they said their faith forbids them from financing contraception. But it went all the way to the court. And then of course, let's not forget the baker. Those people who are the bakers in Colorado, the Colorado bakers. Yeah, you know what? They go through one court case and then they will be targeted by another set of people. This is what is happening.
Wow.
They've gone bankrupt. People are contributing money for them because these people will go, they will say, oh, we're gays. And then the transgender will target them. Every shade of the LGBT people are targeting them as if they're the only bakers in this big city. It just never ends. It's like you are the only ones who are going to bake our cake. Whether you like it or not, you must bake our cake.
Oh, okay. So we're getting to the point now where people will come to
And